Well, they are here. The Hinman files have been released. We have Exhibit 210. That's right, the one being put into the documents for the SEC versus XRP. We're going to break it down in this video, let you take a look through this document and understand, is XRP a security? Why is it so important? And ultimately, why did we see the price of XRP spike to 56 cents? All of that in this video. And if you are bullish on XRP, then be sure to subscribe to this channel and smash a like on this video because XRP is looking pretty bullish right now. So here we are, Exhibit 210, a 13-page document in which we go through the speech and emails of the Hinman emails. Absolutely fantastic. So we get a lot of this. Now, it's not what I think a lot of people expected, which was just big bold text that said XRP is no longer a security. Now, it's a bit more in depth than that. We just literally finished my live stream and I broke it down point by point and really just took you through exactly what this means and ultimately what does it mean for XRP. We'll take a quick look at the chart, but overall the cryptocurrency market still holding fast ahead of that FOMC tomorrow, 1.05 trillion. We got good CPI data, came in 0.97% better than we expected. So the market is holding. Big day tomorrow. A lot of people expecting 0% rate hikes. We could see the market sound. We could even see a 60-cent XRP. But let's get into exactly what this is. So this, like I said, is the document put into the case in which the the William Hinman documentation is put in there. So it's kind of a pre-speech in which it was sent around all about Ethereum and that very much down to whether it was security, how do they regulate security, and ultimately what do they do to ensure that both the investment markets and equal investors are protected while at the same time doing the right thing by the Securities and Exchange Commission. So it doesn't really get good until we actually get into the full speech. Now, just to let you know, these documents on the right hand side, this commented A1, A2, these are where people are discussing parts of this speech and whether they should use the correct terminology. How is this terminology going to come off? It's very, very interesting when you start walking through it. So originally classed as the digital asset morphine or morphing, I think is meant to say. They got digital asset transactions under the Securities Act of 1933, and then something witty and snappy. How about XRP is not a security? I'm only kidding. Right, let's get into it. So he starts off by saying, I think a better line of inquiry is, can a digital asset or token that was originally offered in a securities offering ever be sold in a manner that does not constitute a securities offering? Now, here's the important bit just for context around this. An initial coin offering is where the debate always came about. And actually, if there is an expectation of value increase on return, that is the point in which the security, I buy something with an expectation of return at the initial point in which that's offered. However, if that is then sold on a secondary or tertiary market, therefore that no longer becomes a security. And that's the point here. So the initial part of Ripple, as an example, could be deemed as a security. However, there was never any expectation of value return. The point in therefore which then Ripple is bought through exchanges makes it not a security. Just get that out on the bat. Now, again, it talks a little bit about backgrounds of digital assets, all of which I'm sure everybody on this channel is familiar and everyone watching this video. And that's not really why you're here. You're here to understand, is XRP a security? What did William Hinman fundamentally say in which he talked about whether they were important or not? So here it is. Here's kind of the first start where we get a view of it. It says, but it's not what I want to focus on today. I'm here to talk about how these digital assets and digital tokens and coins are being issued, distributed and sold in order to raise money to develop these new systems. Promoters, when it says promoters, by the way, that means developers of the coin or project, often sell the tokens themselves rather than sell shares, issue notes or obtain bank finances. We have seen public distributions on the internet and private placements to sophisticated investors, but in many cases, the economic substance is the same. Funds are raised with an expectation that the promoters will build their system and investors can earn a return on the investment, usually by selling their tokens in the secondary market as the value of the digital enterprise increases once the promoters create something of value with the proceeds. It says, when we see that kind of economic transaction, it's easy to apply the Supreme Court's investment contract test first announced in the SEC versus Howey. And that's ultimately where the Howey test fundamentally comes from. It says the transactions are recorded as real estate. And these are ultimately, it's like I said, the transaction of real estate was the Howey test. That was where it all came out. It says in the ICOs, we've seen overwhelmingly promoters tout their ability to create some innovative application of blockchain technology. The investors are passive. Marketing efforts are rarely targeted to potential users of the application, and the viability of the application is still uncertain. At that stage, the purchase of a token looks a lot like a bet on the success of the enterprise and not a purchase of something that may someday be used to exchange for goods or services on the network. And as a side, you might ask, given these token sales often look like securities offerings, why would the promoter choose to package the investment as an ICO? This is a especially good question if the network of which the token or coin will function is not yet operational. So it's a very interesting point. That's the first time we really get William Hinman saying around the securities part that it doesn't warrant that title. Now, furthermore, digital assets can represent a relative frictionless way to reach a global audience or in order to seed a network when initial purchases have stake in the success of the network or become part of its early adopting participants who add value beyond their investment contributions. Related to this, some believe that once the token or coin is operational, it will cease to be a security and secondary liquidity may be easier to achieve. While I recognize the possibility, I will discuss the ability to transact in a coin or token on the secondary market requires a careful and fact-sensitive legal analysis, which is fine. No one's debating that. No one's kind of in a world that there's said that that's not the case. What we do have an issue with is the fact that we're just basically saying everything is security, because there is a potential, if the market increases, that there will be a return higher on your initial investment. So returning to ICOs, it's just a bit of a digital assets and blockchain-based companies. Returning to ICOs, we are seeing, strictly speaking, the token or coin or whatever the digital platform packet is called, all by itself is not a security. This is important. So the ICO, the actual coin itself, XRP is the coin, Ripple is the function or the company that sits behind it. The coin itself cannot be listed as a security. All by itself is not a security. The director of the SEC, William Hinman, is clearly stating, therefore, a coin by itself or the token is not a security. That's huge in terms of this document. And again, a really clear part of where I guess the SEC was at that point. It says here at the bottom, but and again, this is just around the kind of the initial offering. What does that look like? Brokers, retail investors, etc. Here's another really key part. And so with digital assets, the digital asset itself is simply code. By the way, it is sold as part of an investment to non-users by promoters to develop their area, can be, and in that context, most often is a security. So for example, if there is an expectation that by buying the token, you're going to get an additional token back at a fixed price, therefore that is an increase in your investment. You are purposely buying in because there is an expectation of your return. You buy these 10 tokens, I will give you 12 tokens back, therefore your value increases. That's a security. The point here is you're buying into a project. With an example, the ICO for Ripple, you were buying into the Ripple token on the basis that that token held value across the Ripple company that was going to be used to transact on their blockchain to move huge amounts of money through the banking system. That is not an expectation of value return. The value return comes by the point of which the decentralized nature of blockchain works, which is I will buy that token from you for more because I think the value of that token, given its nature, is worth more. That's the difference. It's peer-to-peer transactions whenever we talk about cryptocurrency. So once again, it debunks the point of which we expect Ripple and XRP to be a security. Now, he goes on further to give you some examples of what it would look like and examples of ultimately what they can be deemed as or what would be deemed as securities and what would be deemed not a security. So for example here, if we took some factors, we would look to whether a digital asset is offered as an investment contract, i.e. security, and thus the security will always depend on particular fields. And it talks about a number of other points. Has the group or person retained a stake or other interest in the digital asset such that it would be motivated to expend efforts to cause an increase in value in the digital asset, i.e. I'm going to take liquidity from transactional tax and I'm going to pump the price to ensure that that price stays the same so investors get a return on their capital. That's ultimately what would be a test to see whether something is a security or not. Equally on the flip side, they do talk about ones that are the other way. So what do we look at for something that is not? So a token creation commensurates with meeting the needs of users or rather with feeding speculation. There's been a very obvious launch recently that says, send me some money, I'm going to launch a token, you're going to make some money on it. That is the definition of a security. You are basically telling people if they buy in, they are going to get a return on their investment higher than what their initial price is. Whereas if you say to somebody, here's my pre-sale of which I'm building a blockchain and the blockchain is going to be used to enhance the medical industry, that's a totally different thing. People buy in based on the potential that somebody is going to be willing to be paid more in the end. Now, that is all very, very interesting. It's come out. We saw XRP go absolutely insane on the back of the Hinman files. I do think a lot of people are unsure of exactly what they fundamentally mean. But if you break it down, two key points within those documents, ultimately William Hinman saying that if the token or asset itself cannot be deemed as a security, so for example, in the case of the SEC versus XRP, they are ultimately saying that XRP is the security. William Hinman saying that's not to be the case. And likewise, if there is an expectation contractually of return of investment higher based upon what a team would do, that is a security. That is not what is happening in the cryptocurrency space. A lot of this is about blockchain technology, enhancing movement of money, decentralization of your coins. Ultimately, what does it mean? I think XRP is in a very exciting place. I think more than ever, I truly believe XRP will win this case. It's now all about when we get the announcement. We'll always bring you the latest and greatest. But that's going to do it for this video. Slightly longer than normal, but I definitely think it's worthwhile breaking those Hinman files. So if you have enjoyed it, you stayed all the way to the end, smash the like button and join the channel. Subscribe. No memberships on here. Just subscribe and enjoy your time here. Thank you so much for all the support. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.